good. The waters and thunders may nourish the entire universe. With these words, I now request Dr. Sushim Dubey from ICPR to start with the Vedic prayer. It's not audible. I now request Professor D.P. Tripathi ji, Vice Chancellor of Uttarakhand Sanskrit University and Vice Chairman of Maharishi Sandeepni Rashtriya Veda Vidya Pratishthan, Ujjain, to formally welcome our guests and participants and speakers. Professor Tripathi ji. Is Professor Tripathi there? Can you hear me? Professor D.P. Tripathi ji, are you there?
Ma'am, he has left for some reasons, I think network connectivity. Please call Raja Lewis for the speech, and then we call D.C. Tripathi ji when he joins. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, all right. So now, moving on, we invite Dr. Raja Louis Ji, Director, Maharishi Vedic University, Netherlands, who run programs for Latin America and founder of the International Conference for Vedic India and Projects. Sir, we welcome you and invite you to give your presentation and share your views. Thank you.
Namaste. You can hear me well?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can.
So, namaste, namaskar. I like to make a greeting to all the educational family of India, all the students, professors, vice chancellors, and all the friends of Veda in India and around the world. Thank you so much for the opportunity to join us today. It's very special, and I want to thank so much the Honorable Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal for this occasion and his team of advisors. The Minister is making historic steps for establishing Veda in science in education. And the new law created very recently by the Parliament of India for Education, and that establishes education to the village level, that reaches everyone, creates an enormous opportunity to that Veda and Vedic sciences together, they are applied in education in India. For that, we want to congratulate the Honorable Minister and his team and the Government of India. We today see in this event, we are preparing the launching of an essay on Veda For World Peace, and an award on it, Dr. Tony Nader Award. So I would like to explain briefly what is Veda For World Peace concept and introduce in whatever way is possible Dr. Tony Nader, who will address all of you and explain in a very much more comprehensive way the great relation of Veda, science and education and all the great programs for the peace of the world. I must say our knowledge of Veda, like many Westerners, came to us. You know, India has great families of great wisdom, of custodians of the Veda. All of you, so many of you from so many traditions, from so many cultures, have made this an asset for mankind. Among them, we had the opportunity and the fortune to know Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. Maharishi Ji brought these pearls of Veda to the West and makes many of us and all the people around the world to know that Veda could be a science, that Veda could be a technology, and he brought this knowledge to all of you and to all of us. I would like to present a few slides that will mention a little bit what is the connection. The ministry asked me to make a very brief presentation, so I'll do it very quickly, because in reality, we have a few speakers that they will present their good wishes, foreign dignitaries that participate in this event, and then we'll have the presentation of the Dr. Tony Nader, who will give us an overall perspective of Veda and for world peace. I'm trying now to see if I can, it's possible to, can you see my screen or not possible?
No, sir. Yes. Yeah, it's coming. Yes.
Can you see the screen now?
Yes, sir.
You see the slides?
No.
You don't see it, no?
Not yet.
It's requested that please nobody else presses the button of the present now. Well, Raja Louis is giving his presentation. Please.
Okay, so my Ombirji, you can see the slide in the screen, or it's not seen?
Please press the button present now again, Raja Louis.
All right. Okay. It's okay now?
Yes, I see you.
Yes. And you can see the slides, the presentation?
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you so much. So, as we said, this is a international webinar for Veda for World Peace, and we are a little bit trying to know how this concept came about. And we have the presentation of Dr. Tony Nader that you can see along with the minister in this picture. And when Maharishi Ji brought transcendental meditation, we know that yoga and meditation has become more and more popular in the West. But Veda, it is at the root and the basis of yoga and meditation. And also we think that Veda is in the books, and of course, they are in all the sastras. Veda is basically in the consciousness and in the human body, like Dr. Tony Nader is going to explain us, and it's a reality of the whole universe, a physical reality, a reality of consciousness. And Maharishi Ji, when he started teaching transcendental meditation in the West, he showed us that there was transcending. And we'll just use 2-3 Vedic expressions that they are known to all of you, and then we'll connect to what happens scientifically in Veda World Peace, so you understand the connection very quickly in 2-3 minutes. We have this expression of Shivan Samtamad by Tamne. This state produced for meditation is the state of the self, the fourth, the state of peace, transcending. So peace comes from within, transcending is the way, and this is what the Vedas tell us. And that happens when we settle the activity of the mind, when we yoga, chitta, and Viroda, and yoga is a part of the 40 aspects of the Veda, like Dr. Nader will tell us. And then when these more persons are practicing yoga, when they are meditating together, happens in Yoga Sutras, Tatsanidu Vairagaya. Means in the vicinity of this coherence of meditation, crime reduces, hostile tendencies are eliminated. And that allows Heyam Dukkha Managatam, prevention, avert the danger that has not come. All these are Vedic expressions that all of us we know, just to tell us these simple realizations Maharishi brought to us in the West in the form that we could scientifically study and know them. We all know in the school that we want to have total knowledge quickly, and in the Vedas we say Alpakal Vidya Sarhei, means the experience of knowledge, the experience of Vidya, the experience of the Ved can be acquired quickly in the experience of transcending. And then that knowledge is available, and that allows us to consider a society which is in the reign of Ram, Ram Raj Dukkha Huna Vyapa. So that all those pearls of wisdom Maharishi brought to all of us in the West, and one of the things he did, we predicted that we can have an effect in society, that when the social stress is reduced or is increasing, has certain effects in society, and when it's reduced, also has positive effects in society, like you are seeing. So, in conclusion, one of the things Maharishi told us was large group of meditation experts can diffuse society and can create what was called the Maharishi effect, the effect that has been researched in more than 50 scientific replications and publications around the world. And that was based in a very simple hypothesis that just when 1% square root of the population experiencing transcending together, there is changes in the whole of society. And these are some pictures of some of these experiments and research where individuals were trained on this program of meditation as transcending in group and have measured the effects in crime, in different areas in the world. This is in US or in the Middle East, or decreased the war intensity in Lebanon, or global terrorism. So there was studies done in so many levels to show that together, from transcending collectively, we can create a state that generates most peaceful effect. I had the fortune to work in a project with President Chissano in Mozambique. He called Maharishi asking our country is in war for so many years. We are trying all the usual strategies of negotiation and or treaties or United Nations, but we have such a conflict and so many years. Please bring your Vedic approach to peace. And it is very remarkable that this Maharishi effect was implemented in the different variables of the situation and pacified conflict as reported by the authorities of the country, and had very positive effects in various areas, showing that the Vedic technologies, not only they are positive for the people, but they are positive for a nation as a whole. There is a beautiful expression that Maharishi used to say, and he said that this expression from the Vedic literature is good enough to transform stress-ridden civilization to peace, harmony, happiness, and order in every nation. And this Yatapinde Tatabramande. And Yatapinde Tatabramande introduces us to Dr. Tony Nader, who is trained in the most sophisticated scientific universities of US as neurophysiologist, and very deep knowledge of the human brain, and at the same time, a great expert, our greatest expert in Vedic science. So Maharishi saw in him the Veda and science, the possibility that a top scientist can comprehend Veda and can understand the Veda. And both Maharishi and that inspired Dr. Tony Nader to discover Veda in human physiology, which is one of the things he's going to explain to us. This discovery is fundamental to this essay that we are going to do today, because this discovery shows that we will be able to take Veda to the new level, where its contribution to a Vedic science and technology can affect every area of society, from health, education, and all areas that require Vedic technologies for India and for the world. India is Vishwa Guru of the world, and the Vedic knowledge is there. And Dr. Tony Nader's discovery is a breakthrough for science, is a breakthrough for the Vedas, is a new approach, a new knowledge that can transform all our times, and that he leads in his perfect integration. So that it's also the leader of our transcendental meditation movement, because combines to be a rishi of the modern times, a scientist that comprehends the Veda and comprehends the best of the Western thinking. And in this way, we can think of Veda creating Vasudeva Kutumbakam and creating this beautiful effect. We will be, before Dr. Tony Nader will introduce us to this knowledge, we will be having a few dignitaries which will give their blessings and their expressions to this conference. And I would like to say that this is an historic day for India, because the knowledge that Dr. Nader has, the scientific understanding and the technologies that can be applied from his discovery, can make total destiny of the education to be in a highest level. And all of you, the students that they want to have maximum performance, the professors that wants to know the whys of nature, and everyone that wants to have an opportunity of India contribution to the world with knowledge. We already contribute with yoga. Now Veda comes to be the basis of world peace, and the discovery of Dr. Tony Nader, it is the gateway for this accomplishment. So we will thank very much the minister for the opportunity, and all its team, Dr. Rajesh Naitani, and everyone for this great opportunity. And we will ask now our professor to come and introduce the next speakers. Thank you very much for the opportunity. A shift of paradigm in education is happening today. Please participate in Dr. Tony Nader's award. This is a competition on Veda for World Peace. Namaskar.
Thank you, Raja Louis Ji. Thank you so much for your kind words. Thank you for reminding us and sensitizing us that Veda could be a science, and not only science, but a technology and peace comes from within. That is an additional point on your behalf. And of course, the message Yatha Pinde Tatha Brahmande is a universal message that you have just not only revisited, but reminded us of. And with these words, I now welcome Professor Tripathi ji. I see him online. I would like to invite him to welcome our guests, speakers, participants, and the organizers. Please. Professor Tripathi ji, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Uttarakhand Sanskrit University. Is he here? Omvir ji, is he here?
Ma'am, there's some connection problem to them, so they will be joining and concluding the meeting. Please continue with the schedule of the meeting. Sorry, ma'am.
All right. Okay. No issues. No issues. Now, this is the world at hand that we have to perform our duties and, of course, our functions. So, in
Raja Louis, she can be asked for stopping his screen presentation so that we can see all the other panelists.
All right. Raja Louis ji, can you just turn off your presentation, please? Can you just turn off your presentation? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. In the sequence, we have now different nations, those who have participated in the event by sending their video messages because they couldn't make it due to certain reasons. I now request Dr. Sushim Dubey to start with the speech that the former Prime Minister of Japan, Dr. Yukio Hatoyama, has sent a video. Kindly share it with our guests, please.
Excellency Dr. Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank, Honorable Education Minister Government of India, respected Dr. Tony Nader, International President of Maharishi Universities worldwide, all the great leaders of the world, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, and most importantly, my dear students, it's my privilege to send you a congratulatory note at the International Webinar Veda for Peace and on the postal launch session of Dr. Tony Nader International Essay Writing Competition. I have been advocating the concept of fraternity, which means love and friendship among all the people and nations for the world peace and global prosperity. I admire Shri Mahesh Yogi ji and his successor Dr. Tony Nader for their efforts to create world harmony for the practice of DM and DMCD program, which comes from ancient Vedas. By practicing DM collectively, it is possible to realize fraternity by lowering the stress level amongst all the nations. As a result, it becomes more difficult for both to others. In my understanding, when a group of square root of 1% of the population practices the DMCD program, the crime rate as well as the doping rate goes down. As a scientist, I find it significant that the effects of DM are verified by many of the scientific data all around the globe. The world sees a group of 9,000 people practicing DM and DMCD program in India, and each country needs a group of square root of 1% of its population. I feel certain that this Vedic wisdom will lead to the state of fraternity in achieving world peace without using military power or force. Based on my experience as Prime Minister of Japan, I would like to propose that all the people and the governments of the world examine the scientific data and support the creation of groups for peace and prosperity. Thank you very much for the prestigious honor of addressing you all at this precious opportunity. My congratulations and thank you to all of you.
Greetings from Paraguay. I am Norma Lopez,
Director of Universities of the Ministry of Science and Education. I would like to extend my greeting to the Honorable Minister of Education of the Government of India, to the International President of the Maharishi Universities. This initiative, Veda for World Peace, is an excellent response that comes to solve the socio-emotional problems that affect us today, and undoubtedly, the transcendental meditation and consciousness-based education programs. Greetings from Paraguay. I am Norma Lopez, General Director of Universities of the Ministry of Science and Education. I would like to extend my greetings to the Honorable Minister of Education of the Government of India and to the International President of the Maharishi Universities. This initiative, Veda for World Peace, is an excellent response that comes to solve the socio-emotional problems that affect us today, and undoubtedly, the transcendental meditation and consciousness-based education programs are fundamental pillars for accomplishing individual well-being as well as peace and progress of humanity. With my best wishes, and may we enjoy this journey together. I congratulate the organizing committee, International Webinar on Veda and World Peace, especially Dr. Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank from India, Dr. Nader, Dr. Nader, and all other participants. यह विषय बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण और आवश्यक है, क्योंकि वेदों का जो साहित्य है, जो उनका दार्शनिक महत्व है, वैज्ञानिक महत्व है, प्रत्येक की प्राचीन विश्व ने उसको माना, बल्कि बाद की इस वैज्ञानिक युग के है। हाल ही में हर विद्यार्थी समस्या भी गायत्री मंत्र का सुबह दोपहर शाम पाठ करता है, और हाल ही में एक कॉन्सेप्ट है जिसका नाम है की तरह मनुष्य का से संबंधित, मनुष्य का विवेक और मनुष्य का वातावरण से संबंधित महत्वपूर्ण और वादे के लोग पालन करते हैं। आप सभी लोगों ने शुभकामनाएं और शांति शांति। Here in Brazil, we highly appreciate the thoughts of this illustrious citizen from India, Mahatma Gandhi. There is no path to peace. Peace is the path. I'm very grateful to transcendental meditation in my life. We know that science already backs the opportunity to have coherence on earth, to improve education, the learning ability of students in all subjects, as well as to decrease the rate of violence in the world when many people at the same time meditate. So this event is extremely important to bring this light to people and to implement this age-old knowledge. Thank you very much, and may God bless you all at this sublime event. As an assemblyman and president of the Education, Culture, Science and Technology Commission of the National Assembly of Ecuador, I want to thank the organizers for the prestigious invitation to participate in this laudable initiative of Veda for World Peace. In particular, the Honorable Minister of Education of the Government of India and the International President of Maharishi Universities. The present time times whereby peace is an urgent need for all of humanity, I believe that the tradition of the knowledge of Veda and the technologies of consciousness, such as in the consciousness-guided education and the transcendental meditation programs, can constitute the path towards the age-long quest for peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sushim, for playing those video messages. And all the messages had one common message, and that was love and friendship among individual beings and countries and nations, and education of consciousness, meditation, and peace of path. Peace is the path, and not something which is to be, there is something else other than peace and transcendental meditation. So these are the underlining messages of our video messages sent far away from other countries. And now I again request if Professor D.P. Tripathi ji is there to just welcome our participants and guests. Is he there? Shall we try again if he is there?
Yes.
All right. Namaskar, sir. You're welcome.
Namaskar,
Sir.
namaskar.
Please welcome our guests and participants and speakers.
मैं आज इस वेबिनार में वेदा एंड वर्ल्ड पीस के रूप में सभी डेलीगेट्स का यहाँ पे बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन और स्वागत करता हूँ। विशेष रूप में इस कार्यक्रम के जो हमारे मुख्य अतिथि हैं और भारत सरकार के यशस्वी शिक्षा मंत्री माननीय डॉक्टर रमेश पोखरियाल निशंक जी और राजा लुईस और डॉक्टर जापान के पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री डीवीजीओ और ट्रिनिडाड टोबैगो के Anthony Thomas and other all dignitaries and guests. आप सबका इस कार्यक्रम में बहुत बहुत स्वागत। मैं विशेष रूप से भारत सरकार की तरफ से भारत सरकार के शिक्षा मंत्री माननीय रमेश पोखरियाल निशंक जी ने वेदा और वर्ल्ड पीस के विषय में वेद और विश्व शांति, उनका जो ये मंत्र है कि बिना वेद के विश्व की शांति संभव नहीं है, और उसी रूप में उन्होंने अपना पूरा जीवन वेदों के लिए और संस्कृत के लिए समर्पित किया है। और इसी संदर्भ में सबसे पहले रमेश पोखरियाल निशंक जी जब उत्तराखंड के चीफ मिनिस्टर थे, उस समय उन्होंने पूरे उत्तराखंड की जो द्वितीय राजभाषा संस्कृत को बनाया, और जब इस समय भारत सरकार के एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर के रूप में उन्होंने पूरे देश में इस समय एक नई शिक्षा नीति को यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री हमारे माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में जो काम डॉक्टर निशंक जी ने किया, वह काम एक अपने में एक अद्वितीय वो कार्य है। और उस शिक्षा नीति से, और जिसमें पूरे देश की और पूरे भारत की लिए और पूरे दुनिया के लिए एक बहुत बड़ा संदेश और बहुत ज्यादा, जिसमें विश्व की शांति आज के परिप्रेक्ष्य में आप देखते हैं कि पूरी दुनिया विज्ञान टेक्नोलॉजी के आधार पर आगे बढ़ रही है, परंतु इस विज्ञान और टेक्नोलॉजी से सिर्फ धन को कमाने के लिए और मनी के रूप में इकट्ठा करने के रूप में आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। उससे जो विश्व की धीरे धीरे एक अशांति का वातावरण बन रहा है, तो उनका जो मंत्र है कि जब तक वेदों के ज्ञान को हम नहीं आएंगे और जब तक वेद के ज्ञान पर आधारित नहीं होंगे, तब तक पूरे विश्व में शांति संभव नहीं है। इसीलिए भारतीय ज्ञान और भारतीय वेद के तरह ही विश्व में शांति वसुधैव कुटुंबकम की बात आ सकती है। इस रूप में उपस्थित इस पूरे कार्यक्रम में माननीय निशंक जी का हम सभी बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन स्वागत करते हैं। और इसमें विशेष रूप से डॉक्टर टोनी नाडर जी, जिन्होंने वेद पर बहुत काम किया, डॉक्टर राजा जी और अन्य जापान के पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री, बहुत से जो इसमें जुड़े हुए लोग हैं, इन सब का मैं अपने हृदय से बहुत बहुत स्वागत करता हूं, अभिनंदन करता हूं और इन सभी लोगों का आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। उन्होंने इस कार्यक्रम में रह करके अपनी उपस्थिति दे करके वेदों के प्रति, संस्कृत के प्रति और भारत के प्रति अपनी कृतज्ञता ज्ञापित की है। जब तक पूरा ये सब लोगों ने वेदों के द्वारा विश्व में शांति हो सकती है, और महेश योगी जी का जो एक उद्घोष है, उस उद्घोष के द्वारा उन्होंने राजा लुईस इस पूरे मिशन को आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं। इन सबको और टोनी नाडर जी, इन सब का मैं बहुत बहुत आभार और बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन करता हूं। और विशेष रूप से पूरे देश में वेदों के लिए तो इस समय भारतवर्ष में कार्य चल रहा है, वह अपने में अद्वितीय कार्य है। वैदिक शिक्षा के रूप में और वेदों के अध्ययन के रूप में हमारे यशस्वी शिक्षा मंत्री निशंक जी ने बहुत अच्छा वेदों के विकास के लिए और वेदों विकास का दुनिया में पूरे भारतवर्ष में वैदिक शिक्षा को कैसे बढ़ाया जाए, इसके लिए बहुत अच्छा अपना एक मिशन बनाया है। और इसी मिशन के रूप में इस समय पूरे भारतवर्ष में 4 धामों में 4 वेदों के राष्ट्रीय वेद विद्यालय के लिए उन्होंने अपना प्रस्ताव दिया है, और उसमें उन्होंने एक कार्य महर्षि सांदीपनि को सौंपा है कि बहुत शीघ्र ही इस पर अपना जो डीपीआर है उसको जमा करें, जिससे कि देश के 4 धामों में 4 राष्ट्रीय वेद विद्यालय होंगे और एक राष्ट्रीय वेद विद्यालय हमारा नॉर्थ ईस्ट में होगा, और नॉर्थ ईस्ट में जो आसाम में कामाख्या के यहाँ खोला जाएगा, जिससे वेदों का विकास होगा। और वेदों का विकास से वेदों के ज्ञान का प्रसार होगा, और उससे पूरे दुनिया में शांति का एक वातावरण बनेगा। इस मिशन को आगे लेकर के माननीय निशंक जी ने एक बिगुल बजाया है। हम सभी उनके इस कार्य में और उनका इस प्रकार का जो एक विजन है, उस विजन के लिए हम उनका बहुत बहुत स्वागत करते हैं, और उनका जो वेदों के प्रति कार्य है उसका एक अद्वितीय कार्य के लिए उनको हम बार बार अभिनंदन करते हैं, उनको प्रणाम करते हैं। और सभी सदस्यों का इस वेबिनार के माध्यम से विश्व की शांति, वसुधैव कुटुंबकम, अयं निधा परोवेति, सगृणाम लघुचेतसाम, उद्धारचेतसानां वसुधैव कुटुंबकम कह करके सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुर्भाग्यं भवेत्।
धन्यवाद सर, बहुत बहुत आभार आपका। आपके इन शब्दों से मुझे लगता है कि हम हमेशा मोटिवेटेड रहेंगे, विल बी मोर elevated and will be motivated by your words. Thank you for that. And may I request on the behalf of the organizers to keep your videos and audios of those who are not presenting their views. That will help the broadband or the internet to move little faster, and there will be little less disturbance. So consider it a request to keep your videos and audios mics off, on the off mode. As soon as you are requested to present your views, kindly switch on your video and unmute your mic. Thank you so much for your cooperation. May I now, in the sequence, invite the 5th and former president of Trinidad and Tobago, Justice Anthony Thomas Aquinas Carmona, to present his views and share his ideas on this theme. Thank you. Can we have the former president of Trinidad and Tobago, Justice Anthony Thomas Aquinas? Do we have him here on the platform?
Sir, you have to unmute yourself before presenting. Please unmute and open your camera before presenting.
I see our Honorable Education Minister. Sir, namaskar. So, do we have Justice Anthony, please? Is he here? Is he around?
It seems the president of Trinidad was connected initially, but then after he saw he was not hearing, so he might have disconnected. He was waiting. If he is able to connect back, we'll inform you. But I think the former Prime Minister of Netherlands is there also.
We appreciate your information, sir. Thank you for informing us. And we now move ahead with our other speakers. And we have Suzanne Camilla Romer, who is the Vice Prime Minister of Croatia and Minister. Sorry for mispronouncing the word, ma'am. You may correct me. I stand corrected, and I hope that you will correct me. And has been the minister in various departments. Ma'am, you're most welcome. Please share your views.
Thank you. Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Ramesh Pokhriyal, Honorable Dr. Tony Nader, International President of Maharishi Universities worldwide, distinguished representatives of collaborating universities, other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very great joy to be invited to this international webinar titled Veda For World Peace. It is a great privilege to have come into contact with the Indian Vedic wisdom. The Indian scientist and Vedic scholar Maharishi Mahesh Yogi was inspired to go to the West to impart the knowledge of the Vedas to us. It was his practical approach of providing a technique to experience the supreme knowledge that made me introduce it into my governmental policies as Prime Minister, as Minister of Justice, and as Minister of Health, Environment and Nature. The introduction of the Transcendental Meditation Rehabilitation Program in the prison of Curacao surely brought peace to the prison environment and the inmates, as has been documented by scientific research conducted. For the new government to be formed next year, the party's primary objective will be to transform our educational system in such a way that it delivers competent citizens with the knowledge, skills, and attitude to be of maximum value for the nation and for their personal goals. The support of the Vedic knowledge that we have received in this regard from Maharishi Mahesh Yogi in his so-called consciousness-based education may play a vital role in our approach to improve educational performance, where a peaceful country will be a welcome byproduct. May this webinar explore successfully the practical approaches to world peace contained in the Vedic knowledge, and we look forward to the essays to be presented. I wish you all a fruitful and enjoyable webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your wishes. And I'm also very hopeful that we will find out some practical approaches for this transcendental meditation to be implemented in some way in our education system. Thank you so much for your kind words. We now move on with, I invite Jimmy Candle Soto, who's a doctorate, President of Education Committee Parliament in Ecuador. So are you there?
I think I don't know if he's there. He's in a video that we already see, I think.
All right. Okay. So he couldn't make it otherwise. All right. Thank you. Thank you for the help. And now I'm not sure if he has also, Eduardo Guirayo from Brazil. Was there any message from him also?
Yeah, we saw his video already, madam.
Okay, okay. Thank you. You have been a help. All right. Now, I humbly invite Dr. Tony Nader. We are all looking forward to listen to him. To first launch a poster, there was a international essay writing competition, and I hand over him now the platform. And so we are looking forward for your speech. Let me introduce, although we all know, but there are people who would love to know about your work and passion that you have been following. MD, PhD, MARR, is a medical doctor trained at Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and he is a PhD in neuroscience and Harvard University, and a globally recognized Vedic scholar. As Maharishi Mahesh Yogi's successor, Dr. Nader is head of the International Transcendental Meditation organizations in over 100 countries and president for Maharishi International University's work. Author of many famous books, notably Human Physiology, Expression of Veda, and the Vedic Literature and Ramayana in Human Physiology. We welcome you, sir.
Namaste. It's a great joy and an honor to participate with such a great assembly of leaders who are caring for world peace, and to thank the government of India, Shri Modi ji, and all the leaders of India, and particularly, of course, the great Minister of Education, Shri Pokhriyal ji, and all the organizers that have participated, Dr. Raja Luis and everyone else, and the leaders in the world. Veda is a term in Sanskrit that means knowledge. And some of the aspects that I will cover maybe are well known to a lot of the great scholars that we have, but I'd like to share with you today Maharishi's perspective, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, who comes from the Vedic tradition, who has been trained under the leadership and instructions and guidance by the holy teachers in India, particularly, of course, his master, his beloved master that we call Gurudev, Swami Brahmananda Saraswati, who was the Jagat Guru of Jyotirmat, the Shankaracharya at that time, and who was illustrious in the knowledge, and who asked Maharishi to go to the world and spread the knowledge that is missing to create happiness and world peace. Maharishi explains that the reality of life is ananda, is bliss, and is shanti, it's peace. But people are not living that, and therefore he felt to go out, and we were lucky in the West that the Himalayan knowledge and heights came to us to give us this very profound knowledge of living, of wholeness of life, of perfect health, and understanding how we can create peace. In the Veda, as we know, it is said that we all come from bliss, we all move in bliss, and to bliss we come back, because that is the nature of life. Ananda dhyeva kalvimani bhutani jayanti, anandena jatani jivanti, anandam advisham priyantiti. So even though I got a little mixed up at the end, it's the thought of all of you and the reality of life moving in that direction with this great assembly. So this knowledge, Veda is knowledge. And what is the knowledge? How Maharishi really explained that knowledge. He showed that knowledge that is in the Veda is also scientific knowledge. However, how do we get knowledge? Where do we get knowledge? Usually we get knowledge from observation through the senses. You know, you see a seed that you put in the ground, and you see how the seed grows and develops into a flower or a tree, and then it becomes a fruit. So you know that the seed becomes the tree, and the tree produces more seeds, and that continues. Of course, we observe all kinds of knowledge on the objective level. Through our senses, we see things, we experience things. And then we want to understand how these manifestations happen. What makes the seed become a tree? Which means, what are the laws of nature that work together to transform a little piece of something, a seed, into a huge tree, and how the seed takes the nourishment from the earth. And then we go into details about its molecules and how they interact with each other and how they develop based on different forces. Deeper than the molecular chemical level, we have the physical forces, the forces of physics, how atoms, how elementary particles interact with each other. And as we study the laws of nature, we start to understand how life works, how things work. And we want to expand this to all areas of life. We want to know what is about health, what is about our mind, about feelings, how the universe works, and what is the relationship, where does it come from. And all of this leads us to our thinking, our intellectual analysis. So from observation on the sensory level, we get to intellectual analysis on the mental level that sometimes gives us things that are actually different than what we observe. For example, you see the sun moving in the sky from east to west, and you say the sun moves in the sky from east to west. It took human knowledge many, many years, hundreds of years, to understand that it's actually the earth rotating around its axis that leads to this feeling or illusion, if you like, in a sense, that it's actually the sun moving in the sky. Still, it is knowledge. It is knowledge at the sensory level, and the other knowledge is more profound. It is on an intellectual understanding level. Now, when the observations on the surface fail to fit together in a proper way, scientists use more of their intelligence. So we go to the intellect, but even deeper to the intuition level. Something makes the scientist feel, based on the analysis of what they have, that things should work like this. It would make sense that things work like this. This is how, for example, Einstein discovered or said that, there is relativity in time and space, although on the observation level, nobody doubts that there is actually, time is very rigid, it's very specific, distances are very specific, and therefore there is no sense of possible relativity in that sense. However, the data didn't fit. And it's the human consciousness, the human intelligence that was able to resolve these aspects of understanding and find that even our observation on the surface level might be mistaken. The observation might be mistaken, leading to true understanding on the level of consciousness, on the level of thinking, of human mind, of human intellect. And this way, we find that there is a deeper level in consciousness that can reveal realities that at the observation level can be contradictory, so that, for example, the relativity of time and space, the fact that the laws of nature are the same for all observers that are not accelerating, that is the special theory of relativity. And then in the grand scheme of the general relativity, we have the reality that there is a space-time continuum, and even gravity is a geometric structure that takes us to understandings and things that are beyond the imagination of the surface level of observation. And then we have quantum mechanics that came along that showed us that actually what we feel is local, is right here and right now, and the sense of time is all as if universal. We find that there are non-locality, that objects are actually not located in time and space until you observe them, and that baffles the scientist, and you get into what is called the weirdness of the discoveries in modern science. So modern science on the objective level is trying to understand the universe and its laws from its own perspective. What is Veda then? Where does Veda come from? Veda doesn't come from objective analysis of the observation. It comes from direct experience of the rishis within themselves. So Veda is a science that we can say is subjective. It comes from the inner experience and the level of consciousness. It is the same as when scientist says that the universe should be relative in terms of time and distances and all of that, that things are non-local, even though it contradicts the senses, but there is something deeper than that. So what does Veda say in its science? It actually says that the universe comes out of one field, and that is the field of pure being, pure consciousness. So there is one field, that's what Veda says and has said for thousands of years, that the rishis of the Veda discovered, that there is one field which is the source of all that there is. And that is beautifully explained in one great aspect of the Veda, which is Vedanta, which is in terms of what Vedanta means. Anta is the end, and Vedanta is the end of the Veda, but not the end in terms of finishing or termination, but the end in terms of the highest value, the ultimate realization. So what is the ultimate realization of understanding of our reality? Is that all is one field of consciousness that manifests itself in different aspects. And that's why the Veda says, Aham Brahmasmi, I am totality. Vedoham, I am the Veda. Tattvamasi, thou art that. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahm, everything is totality, everything is wholeness. Now, this is an expression in the Vedic science that comes from inner introspection and understanding. It has very profound implications that we will get into briefly, but let's first ask ourselves, does it make sense? Because the objective level of understanding, the modern science, is studying the universe, it's studying the world, and there are laws that we know, and there are structures that we know, and they are relationship of cause and effect that we have discovered scientifically, and they are rigid and they are there. There is law and order in the unfoldment of the forces of nature, so that you can predict even the future of what is happening and all of that, because you know the laws that lead to that. What modern science has discovered is, as you go deeper and deeper into trying to find where is this coming from, what is the origin of objects. For example, objects are made out of molecules, molecules are made out of atoms, atoms are made out of elementary particles, elementary particles have been found to be fields of energy. These fields of energy are of different nature. On the surface level, you have electricity, magnetism, weak forces, strong forces, gravitational forces. But as you go deeper, as scientists kept going deeper, they found that actually all these fields are more and more unified, until today we have a theory of a unified field of all the laws of nature. And this is not just conjecture, you know. Nobel Prize in physics have been given to those who have unified, electromagnetism and the weak force and like that, and those who are unifying these fields. So this is a very serious, hardcore science. Therefore, science is leading us to the same conclusion, that there is one unified field that is the source of everything. Now, Maharishi has said these two are the same. And he went on to say, on a theoretical basis, we can now understand what the Veda says, that everything is that unified field, Sat Chit Ananda, the field of purity, pure bliss, pure wholeness. That is the field of pure consciousness, pure being. And that field is within us, of course. Where else would it be? It is within everything. When we say Yatha Pinde Tatha Brahmande, that means every atom is like the universe. The universe has within it the structure of every atom. What does it mean? It means that the source and course of everything comes from that unified field. What is beautiful in the human reality is that we can access that field. We can directly access that field through direct experience, and that is what transcending is, transcendental meditation. Now, we spoke about Veda as a science, but also, as Dr. Raja Luis said, it's also a technology. It's also a means. So Veda has knowledge, and in this knowledge, there is a technology. One of the primary aspects of the technology of the Veda is yoga. There are 40 branches of the Veda that Maharishi organized and structured as a perfect science. They deal with all aspects of reality. The environment, the individual, the inner, the outer, the development, the change, how the seed becomes, the sap becomes the flower, becomes the tree. That unified value is even there expressed on the surface level, but also there is a science of the Veda and technology of the Veda about health, about our relation to the herbs, as in Ayurveda, about the structure of homes, how to build our cities in Sthapatya Veda. We have all the knowledge about how things express themselves, transform themselves, they expand, they go back to the self, how we measure and quantify. And so we get these different aspects of the Veda: Shiksha, Kalpa, Vyakaran, Niruk, Chan, Jyotish, Yoga, Karma Mimamsa, Vedanta, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Samkhya, and all the Brahmanas, Upanishad, Aranyak, Itihas, Puran, Smriti, the Pratishakyas. We have, of course, Gandharva Veda, Dhanur Veda, Sthapatya Veda, Ayurveda. All of these values are different aspects of natural law. Of course, on top of them, there are the Samhitas, Rig Veda, Sama Veda, Yajur Veda, and Atharva Veda, that are described by Maharishi and organized according to their different predominant values. And suffice it to say for this that they are all complementary, because there has been sometimes a misunderstanding that this branch of the Veda is different than that branch, therefore it contradicts that branch in a way, therefore I belong to this branch, I don't belong to that branch. And in reality, it is like the different forces of nature that work together to create wholeness. You need enough water to get the seed to grow and take the nutrients from the field, from the ground. But you need enough air and oxygen. You need enough sun and warmth and heat. And so in balance, all these different values, they create perfect ability for the seed to grow and become a beautiful tree. So if you put too much water, then it might rot. If you put too much sun, it might be burned. If you put too much wind, it might dry. But if you balance them, then they grow in perfection. And that's what the Veda tells us, that's what Maharishi has taught us, and that's what I proud and from his being his disciple, proud to be with all of you and proud to share with you this knowledge of infinity of life that is different, yet in balance it can create great progress. And that is the field of where we will find peace. Where will peace come? Peace will not come by eliminating differences. It will come by allowing differences to be coordinated and to work together so that they create waves and steps of progress and evolution. So that is part of the science of Veda, part of the science and technology of Veda. If we focus on, for example, yoga, as we have also heard, what is yoga? Yoga is a science that gives us supreme ability, ultimately, to go back to the essence of who we are, to go back to the self, which is the source of everything. And acting from that source, which creates the entire universe and maintain it in perfect order, we are acting from the level of unity that unifies us not only with our fellow human beings, it unifies us also with the planets, with the stars, with the trees, with the animals. So there is that underlying shanti, that underlying peace that comes from non-duality, the non-duality of the self. And that is not only on the level of thinking, on the level of analyzing it or emotionally trying to fit in it, which although the mind, the intellect are important, but this comes from direct experience of transcending. Transcending means going beyond differences, going beyond the surface value and going to the real value. The real value is that unbounded, pure Satchit Ananda, which we all are and which everyone is. And so when you are that and you experience that and you know that by direct experience within yourself, then you find no problem with anything, no fighting needed, no effect to create as a contradiction or aggression with anything, because you are at peace with yourself. Everything is yourself. And that is very real. And how does it happen? It happens in a simple way, in an innocent way, because the mind's tendency is to want more happiness, more growth, more bliss, more knowledge. And more than the most is within us, is who we really are in the depths of ourselves. And that is what yoga gives us. So in yoga, we have, even the first definition of yoga by Patanjali, Atha Yoganuशासनम, says, now I'll tell you about yoga. And what is yoga? Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Yoga is the settling of the mind, the settling of the activities of the surface level, which are the vibrations on the surface level. And that is what transcendental meditation does. It takes us to that level, and with its advanced technique, we can act from this level and create the effect that we have heard is Tat Sanidhau Vairatyagaha, which means in the vicinity of the coherence, in the vicinity of yoga, everything calms down. And that's what the research has shown. When people practice transcendental meditation and the advanced siddhi programs, they settle down, they are in shanti, they are in peace, and ultimately also they create a coherence which leads the entire society to become peaceful. And this again is not just a theory, it is a beautiful knowledge from the Veda, and it has been proven scientifically. Because to say that the Veda is scientific, it means we have to verify it according to the scientific method, which requires a systematic approach that is repeatable and reliable. Systematic means you do the same thing and then it's repeatable, you can repeat it, it's not just one time it happens, and it's reliable, it produces the effect. So whether it's a chemical reaction or a spiritual undertaking or a spiritual transcending value, when you do it, you get the results, you repeat it, you get the same results. And that's what we have been doing over and over again on thousands of situations and hundreds of people, thousands of people. And in different parts of the world, it has been proven that when people practice this program together, as Maharishi predicted, then the conflicts are reduced, as we have heard from Dr. Alvarez briefly. That is scientific. That is why Veda is scientific in its knowledge and also in its technology, in its methods, in terms of world peace, but also in other terms, of course, for Ayurveda, for all the other aspects of the Veda. Now, how can we dig deeper into what Veda is really, and to say that what is it really Veda? And that takes us to also something that Veda says, which is mantra brahmanayor Vedanam dheyam, which means what we call Veda, what is being called Veda, is two things, mantra and brahmana. And Maharishi explains mantra is the sound, is the expression, and brahmana is the mechanics of transformation of one sound into the other, into the other. Like we said, when we have an observation of a seed becoming a tree, then you see the seed developing, that's an observation, that's the manifestation. But what makes the seed change and grow and gather the nutrients and build up a tree and become a big tree and create new seeds? These are the laws of nature, the mechanics of transformation that are hidden because you don't see them through the senses, but they are very active. These are the laws of nature. So Veda is total knowledge. If Veda is total knowledge, Maharishi says, then it's not enough that it is something theoretical, but also its own structure must reflect the structure of the dynamics of the laws of nature. The structure of the dynamics of the laws of nature. What does it mean? You know, to fulfill a function, you have to have a structure. If you want a plane to fly, you cannot just take a car and make it run very fast. You can make it run as fast as you like, it will not fly. What you need is a structure, the wings that interact with the laws of nature, that interact with the wings interacting with the wind and with the speed. Then there is a certain curvature of the wing and how does it take the wind, and then there is a lift power. So there is a structure to perform a function. If you want a microscope, you don't get a knife, or you don't get a car, or you build something that has a structure so that the structure fulfills the function. Now, the structure of Veda, therefore, Maharishi has thought and has said, since it is that which creates wholeness, which creates fullness, that which knows all the laws of nature, must be perfect. And so he looked at the structure and he found how these different values of the Veda actually interact with each other, which means basically simple sound and silence, paragraphs, number of richas, number of padas, number of suktas, number of mandalas. Why is it that many? Why so many, not less, not more? And therefore, the structure even of the Veda, independent of the function of it really, is what is needed to create the function. So it's not independent of the function in terms of that is not correlated. It is absolutely correlated. Every structure has a function. And the function of total knowledge is to take us to that Ananda, that Satchit Ananda, which is within us. And so Maharishi thought all the Veda must have the structure that is perfect. Now, how can we judge that? It is very subjective. It's a feeling. How can we convince the world that this is actually real, rather than another imagination, another thinking, another somebody thinking in one way or the other? So Maharishi said there is a simple equation. We know that human beings can transcend, so they can experience pure consciousness. We know it from our own experience. We know it from the experience of the rishis, of all those who have been practicing transcendental meditation. And therefore, the human physiology as a structure is able to transcend, is able to experience wholeness, is able to experience totality. That means the human physiology has a structure that is befitting, that is the, if you like, the incarnation of total natural law. It has within it all that is needed to experience fullness, to experience perfection. And of course, many have said that in a sense, you know, in the Bible, it is said that humans are created in the image of God. In the Veda, aham vedoham, I am the Veda, so I am totality, I am knowledge, I am wholeness. Yathapinde, tatha brahmande, as is the atom, so is the cosmos, so is the universe. There is that correlation. And therefore, within us is, of course, we know the unified field already, but what we are having more than that is that we can actually experience it. We can actually live it. And that is what brings moksha, what brings enlightenment, what brings shanti and peace in society. Because people who experience this create a coherence. That coherence has an entrainment effect. Even those who don't practice it now start aligning. And that's what the research has shown, that it's not necessary for everyone to meditate. It's enough for 1% of the people to meditate, or for the square root of 1% to practice the advanced techniques of the siddhis, the advanced siddhis flying and yogic flying techniques. And we have shown that it creates the effect socially and everywhere. So to come back to our last point, the human physiology is described by all the various wise teachings. You know, in the Islamic tradition also, the Imam Ali, who says, consider yourself like you are an atom in which the whole universe is folded. Again, total natural law is within you. And in the Quran, it says, I am closer. God says to his people, I am closer to you than your jugular vein. So if you look at Taoism, at Buddhism, you look at the different cultures, they all point in that direction. So Maharishi said, this is not just a philosophy, it's a real thing. So he asked me to research the relationship between Veda and the structure of the human physiology, meaning the structure and function of Veda with the structure and function of the human physiology. And that will be hopefully another webinar where we have found in an amazing way, as I looked into it deeply, for every aspect of the Veda, from Rik, Sama, Yajur, Atharva, Shiksha, Kalpa, Vyakara, Niruk, Chan, Jyotish, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Samkhya, Yoga, Karma, Mimamsa, Vedanta, all of the aspects of the Veda have a structure, which means, for example, the yoga book of Patanjali has 4 chapters. Each chapter has a number of sutras, and these sutras, you know, have a function. And it corresponds to the unifying value, because the yoga means to unify, to put things together, to create coherence and wholeness. And in the brain, there is a place which unifies. This is the association fibers that run from one side of the brain to the other, front and back. And as you look at the structure of yoga, you look at the structure of the brain, you find they're exactly the same. The same 4 chapters are in the nervous system and the brain. The same number of sutras and divisions and subdivisions are in the structures of the nervous system. And you find this in every other aspect. This is just one example. So Veda is then the same as human physiology. Our human body is a replica on a more expressed level, on a more gross level, of the dynamics of the Veda. So Veda is true science, and there is in it the technology of how to achieve fulfillment, go back to the self. And we see this happening. For example, when people transcend, their brain coherence rises. The front, back, right, and left work together in a coherent way, indicating that the yoga value, the samadhi is transcendence. The samadhi is there. What happens physiologically? There is a physiological response on the brain level and on the entire balance, organizational level of the whole physiology. So it creates peace for the individual, because there is no disturbance, because disease is something that is not working in accordance with this natural law. So the body starts working in accordance with natural law. That's why we see better health, better performance, better students have better grades at school, they are more peaceful, better relationship with others, and hundreds of scientific research studies create peace in the individual. And as this peace is created in a small percentage of the society, we have seen decrease in violence, decrease in conflict, decrease even in hospital admission, decrease in accidents of the road, and all indicators of society growing towards greater fulfillment, more happiness, more shanti, more peace, happen through the technologies of the Veda, which in this case is the direct technology of samadhi, experiencing samadhi in a natural, simple way through transcendental meditation. So indeed, Veda is a science, Veda is a technology, and we are the Veda, and it's not just a philosophy. It has beautiful teachings and beautiful philosophical thinking, but it is a science, which means everyone is Veda. We are grateful to the Vedic tradition of India, to the great Pandits and those who have been passing the Veda from generation to generation to create that maintenance of the value of the Veda. So that is on the level of transcending. There is another level of the Veda which is very powerful, and that is because it is the dynamics of natural law. If you chant it from that level, just on the level of the vibration, you are transcending, and you can chant the Veda, or you can experience the vibrations of the sounds of the Veda from that level. Then you can change things and prevent all occurrences that might be difficult, even those that can be coming from the planetary changes, the environmental changes, the cycles of nature. And that is the program of Yagya. So Yoga and Yagya are great powers besides all the others like Ayurveda and Sthapatya Veda that we have mentioned, and all the other values. And the sounds of the Veda rebalance our physiology, create health and wholeness for the individual, invincibility and peace for society. So all glory to Veda, and all glory to all those who support Veda as a science, and they really can take it, whatever religion they are, whatever belief system they have, whatever traditions and cultures they have. Veda is a science. It's a science of consciousness. It's a science that allows us to act from the unified field of natural law, and therefore it applies for all people and for all societies, for the entire environment, and for the creation of peace and happiness in our dear world. Thank you again for inviting me. It's really a joy, and let's hope we can meet again and do something very practical about it. Namaskar and Jai Gurudev.
Thank you. Although I believe that we can't thank you enough, Professor Nader. Let me just submit a quick overview what you have shared with us. You started with the perspective of Maharishi Mahesh Yogi's perspective on Veda, and you submitted that reality of life is nothing but Anand, and you have very successfully submitted in your final version of your presentation too, that consider yourself as an atom. Entire universe is folded within that atom. And you also pondered over the sources of knowledge from perception to inference, and then you came back that Veda is not, Veda does not have its origin in the way that we experience the world. Certainly, it is an intuitive insight experienced by rishis. We very well agree with you, sir, on this. And not only this, you also reminded us of that everything is a totality. You reminded us of that science is also looking back for that unified totality. And somewhere that unified totality is nothing else but Satchid and Anand, the Vedantic, the Advait concept of reality. And we bear it. It resides within us. We do not have to move outwards, and we can directly experience it. Thank you for this, for that hope also. And an interesting interpretation that you mantra Brahmanayor Vedanamaghyam, that's very wonderfully interpreted, sir, I must say. And Of course, there were few points that were very catchy in your speech, and one of them was that peace is not achieved by eliminating differences, but by coordinating between them, by balancing out them, and of course, everyone is Veda. Now, that is a great message, I would say, for us to carry on with. And now with these words, we try to thank you. We try to express our gratitude towards you for being with us and sharing this wonderful speech and message on Veda from this perspective. Thank you so much. Now, if we may proceed on, if Om-Beauty, can you inform if the president of Trinidad, former president of Trinidad and Tobago is here? If he is here, we can have him for a word. And if not, so we may continue.
We have received, madam, his video, but let that be played after Honorable Minister release the poster.
Right, definitely. I was informed that the former president of Trinidad and Tobago, Justice Anthony Thomas Aquinas, was here, and we would not like to miss on him if he has to share a message. I think he's not there. Anyhow, all right, we'll move. So with this, it is submitted that there is an international essay writing competition which will be held worldwide for school and college going students, and the first phase will happen in India. And now we request our Honorable Education Minister to just flash it and just to inaugurate it. Sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sushanji, can we have it on? Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you for that. इसी कड़ी को आगे बढ़ाते हुए मैं आमंत्रित करती हूँ भारत के माननीय शिक्षा मंत्री डॉक्टर रमेश पोखरियाल जी निशंक जी का, जिनके सार्थक प्रयास हमें आज नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी के रूप में उपलब्ध हुए हैं.
मैडम,
हाँ जी,
पोस्टर इज टू बी शोन.
आपने, अच्छा, मुझे लगा वो सर ने दिखाया. आप दिखाएं प्लीज गो हेड. Right, it's visible. Thank you, Sushanji. Thank you for that. So we have our chief guest here, Education Minister Nishank ji, on the poster. Yes, thank you.
And also, madam, we received the video message from the Honorable Trinidad that we have to play.
We have to play first? Oh, okay. All right. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Is Veda For World Peace is timely and very relevant in a world confronted with myriad of materialism, not made easier by the COVID-19 pandemic that continues to destroy lives, families, and peace around the globe. As I've always stated, this pandemic has been a catalyst for engendering, nurturing, and creating in our individual and collective lives the everlasting need for a quality of sustainable peace by emphasizing the oneness of our humanity. These very unsettling times, wrought by the COVID-19 pandemic, requires more than ever the invocation and implementation of the very core values, philosophies, and teachings of Ayurveda. A greater understanding of Vedic science and literature fosters everlasting peace and community between and among persons and nations. Peace is not solely the absence of war, but more so the recognition and support of human rights for all, justice for all, inclusivity, equality, compassion and respect, mutual respect, and an interdependence that ensures that no one is left behind. And this includes the demographic, persons with disabilities who are often not at the table and banquet of a nation's patrimony. Charles and Alexander, in a research paper published by the Maharishi University of Management State and High Court, from the perspective of Maharishi's Vedic science and technology, individual peace is the unit of world peace. A peaceful world is possible only if it consists of individuals with peaceful minds and peaceful physiology. End of quote. We must therefore aspire to achieve and sustain that state of inner peace. Global leaders through service leadership can be forceful enablers of peace through transformational vision of Vedic philosophies. Through Vedic teachings, peace will descend on us all when that service leadership is grounded not in power, but rather on equality treatment, integrity, governance, equity, justice, and fairness to all. A leadership steeped in Vedic culture will recognize and implement trickle-down economics and trickle-down humanity, which sustain always an environment of peace. In this regard, I wish to commend the Yucaratas Sanskrit University and all the stakeholders of this noble event for their advocacy in promulgating internal and external peace and the messages of great wisdom shared today. I wish to acknowledge the Honorable Education Minister of Health of India, Dr. Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank. Inspiring presence in this webinar encourages all to consider and embrace the varied benefits of infusing Vedic philosophies and science in all levels of the education system. Such a progressive step will enable a culture of sustainable peace and mediation from kindergarten to the tertiary level through the school's curriculum. In this way, we will be molding our future leaders to become advocates of peace rather than advocates of belligerence. Peace, good health, and access to health services are intertwined in the midst of this global pandemic. It is important to note that Vedic science and medicine are and can be facilitators of universal health care around the world, especially in areas where modern medicine may not be reachable and easily accessible. Vedic medicine dispenses a health care that caters for the mind, body, and soul. The principles of Ayurveda are in sync with the actual definition of health and espoused by the World Health Organization, WHO. The world has taken note of indigenous systems of healthcare.
Okay, thank you for that video message. अब आगे कड़ी को बढ़ाते हुए मैं एक बार दोबारा सौभाग्य ही कहूंगी कि मंत्री जी का अभिनंदन करते हुए उनका स्वागत करती हूँ। जैसा कि मैं पहले कह ही रही थी कि माननीय मंत्री जी ने करीब 80 किताबें लिखी हैं और 15 देश में इनके साहित्य और पर्यावरण और मानवीय मूल्यों के प्रति जो इनकी निष्ठा रही है उसके प्रति इनको सम्मानित भी किया गया है। और सिर्फ यही नहीं, उत्तराखंड में सबसे युवा मुख्यमंत्री रहे हैं और इसके अलावा उत्तर प्रदेश विधानसभा में ये सबसे कम उम्र के विधायक भी रहे हैं। पर इसके अलावा सर जो आपने अभी रिसेंटली जो काम किया है उसके प्रति जो हम शिक्षकों के भीतर जो एक निष्ठा पैदा हुई है वो एक तो ये है कि इस नई शिक्षा पद्धति के माध्यम से न केवल इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी अप्रोच बढ़ेगी, बल्कि भारतीय शिक्षा पद्धति में कुछ ऐसे तत्व जो प्रायः उनको भी मुक्ति मिलेगी जो कभी थे ही नहीं। तो ये आपके योगदान के लिए शिक्षक वर्ग बहुत बहुत ऋणी रहेगा और हम धन्यवाद करते हैं इस चीज के लिए सर कि आपकी इस सामर्थ्य के प्रति हम हमेशा कृतज्ञ रहेंगे। और मैं इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ सर आपको आमंत्रित करती हूँ कि आप अपना संदेश दें।
वेद और विश्व शांति के इस दुनिया के बड़े सम्मेलन में उपस्थित डॉक्टर टोनी नादर जी, जो वैज्ञानिक हैं, लेखक हैं, आध्यात्म के क्षेत्र में बहुत लंबे समय से जो अपना योगदान मानव कल्याण के लिए दे रहे हैं। आज उनके इस प्रयास से सारे विश्व के लोग, लगभग 50 देशों के लोग, हम वेदों पर विश्व शांति के लिए चर्चा कर रहे हैं। मैं प्रोफेसर टोनी नादर जी को धन्यवाद देते हुए पूरे विश्व के जो लोग भी, आज 50 से अधिक देशों के लोग जो जुड़े हुए हैं, उन सब का मैं अभिनंदन कर रहा हूँ। मैं उनका सब स्वागत कर रहा हूँ वेदों की धरती हिंदुस्तान से। राजा लुइस साहब भी हमसे जुड़े हुए हैं। डॉक्टर यो हातोयामा जापान के पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री जी भी हैं। जस्टिस एंथनी थॉमस जी हैं। सुजैन कैमेलिया जी हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं। नोरा एडिथ लोपेज हमारे साथ हैं। जिमी कैंडल सोतो हमारे साथ हैं। एडू आर्डो जिराओ ब्राजील के सीनेटर हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं। डॉक्टर त्रिपाठी वीसी और डॉक्टर पांडे वीसी, मैक्स मैथियासन और एमपी फ्रांस से जुड़े हुए हैं। मुझे लग रहा है कि मैं देख रहा हूँ पूज्य स्वामी जी भी जुड़े हुए हैं और विभिन्न देशों से शिवानी जी आज हमारे साथ पूरी दुनिया के लोग विश्व की सुख शांति प्रगति की कामना के लिए यहाँ पर जुड़े हुए हैं। मुझे याद आता है कि जब मैं पेरिस में था तो डॉक्टर राजेश ने बताया कि प्रोफेसर टोनी नादर जी मिलना चाहते हैं और यूनेस्को की उस बैठक में जब प्रोफेसर टोनी नादर से मेरी वहाँ मुलाकात हुई थी तो मेरी खुशी का बहुत मुझे खुशी हुई, बहुत मुझे हर्ष हुआ। और जिस तरीके से उन्होंने अपनी पुस्तकों को दिखाया, मैं सच में बहुत आह्लादित था। मुझे लगा कि विश्व के कल्याण के लिए, मानवता के उत्थान के लिए मेरे वेदों के माध्यम से जो काम हो रहा है वो बहुत वंदनीय काम है। और इसलिए मैं प्रोफेसर टोनी नादर जी, मैं आपका अभिनंदन कर रहा हूँ, मैं आपका स्वागत कर रहा हूँ। मैं इस समय आपके साथ जुड़ा हूँ वेदों की धरती से। मैं वेदों के जन्म स्थल हिमालय से जुड़ा हुआ हूँ आपसे, जहाँ वेद पुराण उपनिषदों का जन्म हुआ है। आयुषो वेदा, आयुर्वेद, जहाँ में आयु का जो विज्ञान है, उस आयुर्वेद का जो 5वें वेद आयुर्वेद का जहाँ जन्म हुआ है, जो चरक ऋषि की जन्मस्थली है, मैं उस धरती से आपके साथ सीधा जुड़ा हुआ हूँ। अभी टोनी नादर जी चर्चा कर रहे थे श्री बद्रीनाथ जी की, जोशीमठ की, महर्षि पूज्य महेश योगी जी की, मुझे बद्रीनाथ में जोशी मठ में ही उनका सानिध्य मिला है। मेरा सौभाग्य है कि मुझे उनका सानिध्य मिला है जोशी मठ में, श्री बद्रीनाथ में। और वही जो केदारनाथ धाम है, आपने देखा होगा कि हमारे देश के यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने पिछली बार जो 2013 की बहुत बड़ी विपदा आई थी और केदारनाथ जी सुरक्षित रह गए थे, उसके पुनर्निर्माण की दिशा में हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री जी हिमालय के इन जो अध्यात्म की ताकत शक्ति है, जो मानवता के लिए जो वरदान है हिमालय, उस हिमालय जहाँ वेद प्राण उपनिषदों का जन्म होता है, आयुर्वेद का जन्म होता है, जहाँ योग का जन्म होता है, जो तन और मन को ठीक करने के लिए पतंजलि का जो योग है, वो भी मेरी इस हिमालय की धरती से जन्मा है। और आपको याद होगा कि जब श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने यूएन में मानवता की रक्षा के लिए इस मनुष्य के अच्छे भविष्य के लिए जब एक प्रस्ताव रखा था कि ये योग यदि जीवन को ठीक कर सकती है, हमारे मन को, हमारे तन को अच्छा कर सकती है, तो क्या योग को लोग अपना सकते हैं। और अद्भुत था, शायद पूरी दुनिया के इतिहास में इतने कम समय में 177 देश के लोगों ने उस प्रस्ताव को पारित किया था और बहुत कम 40 दिन के अंदर वो क्रियान्वित हुआ था। आज 21 जून को पूरी दुनिया योग दिवस मना करके अपनी रक्षा कर रही है, अपने आत्मा के उत्थान के लिए, अपने जीवन के उत्थान के लिए, अपने मन और तन को ठीक करने के लिए उस योग का उपयोग कर रही है। ऐसी धरती में, उस हिमालय की धरती से मैं आपको अभिनंदन कर रहा हूँ। वो हिमालय की धरती जो आध्यात्म की राजधानी है दुनिया की, जहाँ से गंगा निनाद करती हुई विश्व के कल्याण के लिए पूरी धारा अपवित्र ता को दूर करने के लिए पवित्रता की धारा बहती हुई जा रही है। ज्ञान की धारा, विचारों की धारा, पवित्रता की धारा, नए जीवन की धारा उस हिमालय से बहती जा रही है। मैं ऐसे हिमालय के क्षेत्र से पूरी दुनिया के लोग जो आज जुड़े हुए हैं, वेद व्यक्ति के जीवन को कैसे आनंदित कर सकता है, कैसे सुख और शांति पूरी दुनिया में सरसा सकता है वेद के माध्यम से, आज उस पर जो यहाँ पर जुड़े हुए हैं पूरी दुनिया के उन तमाम आप सब लोगों का मैं हिंदुस्तान की धरती से अभिनंदन कर रहा हूँ। मैं आपका सबका स्वागत कर रहा हूँ। मैं समझता हूँ कि आपने बहुत अच्छे बिंदु पर ये चर्चा की है। वेद और विश्व शांति, ये जो विश्व शांति है, ये वर्ल्ड पीस, शांति, सुख, ये जो शांति है, ये इसके लिए तो सब कुछ है। शांति नहीं है तो जीवन कुछ भी नहीं है। शांति चाहिए। शांति कब मिलेगी, कैसे मिलेगी, कहां से मिलेगी, वो उसका सूत्र, उसका मंत्र, उसका जो पुंज है वो वेद है। और इसलिए वेद और विश्व माने परिवार और वेद माने जीवन, वेद माने विज्ञान। तो ये जो विश्व का जीवन है ये वेद है। ये समझना पड़ेगा, ये महसूस करना पड़ेगा, उसके अंदर जाना पड़ेगा, उसको बाहर निकालना पड़ेगा, उसको जीवन में उतारना पड़ेगा। मुझे खुशी है कि प्रोफेसर टोनी नादर जी इस दिशा में बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं और उन्होंने जिस तरीके से वेद को विज्ञान के साथ जोड़ करके और समाज के उत्थान की दिशा में, मानवता की कल्याण की दिशा में ये जो अपना वक्तव्य दिए हैं, और वक्तव्य ही नहीं दिया, वो कर रहे हैं। मैं देख रहा हूं उनको, मैं जब से वो मुझको मिले तब से मैं लगातार उनके पीछे हूं। कहाँ कब क्या क्या कर रहे हैं मैं मैं जानकारी प्राप्त करता रहता हूँ। तो मुझे खुशी है कि एक मिशन मोड में नादर काम कर रहे हैं, वेदों के लिए काम कर रहे हैं, जीवन के लिए काम कर रहे हैं, दुनिया के लिए काम कर रहे हैं। और मैं शुभकामना देना चाहता हूँ। जैसे मैंने कहा कि विश्व, परिवार, वेद, जीवन, वैज्ञानिक जीवन, और जो वेदों में जो लिखा है उसको हमको पाना है, हमारे पास है। वेद एक तरफ कहता है ये विश्व परिवार है, ये मानव हम सब प्राणी मात्र सब एक है। एक तरफ कहता है माता भूमि पुत्रों पृथ्व्या, ये जो धरती है, पूरा संसार, ये धरती माँ है और इस माँ के हम सब संतान हैं। हम सब एक हैं, हम अलग नहीं हैं, हम सभी प्राणी भी सब एक हैं। और दूसरी ओर वेद कहता है अयम निजाह परोवेति गणना लघु चेतसाम उदार चरिता नाम तू वसुधैव कुटुंबकम। पूरी वसुधा मेरा कुटुंब है, मेरा परिवार है। छोटा मन नहीं हो सकता। ये जो कहता है कि ये मेरा है, ये तेरा है, वो छोटा है, वो परिवार नहीं हो सकता। और जो उदार चरिता नाम तू, जिसका उदार चरित्र है वो हमारा ही है। और वो वेद हमको ये कहता है कि हमको छोटी छोटी चीजों में बंटना नहीं है, छोटे विचारों में बंटना नहीं है। हम पूरा एक परिवार है, ये संसार एक परिवार है। जिन लोगों ने विश्व को परिवार न मान करके केवल बाजार माना है, मार्केट माना है, वर्ल्ड मार्केट बोला है, उनकी दृष्टि में ये विश्व केवल बाजार है। लेकिन हमारी दृष्टि में ये विश्व परिवार है। बाजार में व्यापार होता है और परिवार में प्यार होता है। अंतर इतना है, एक तरफ व्यापार है, दूसरी तरफ परिवार है। परिवार में जब सुख और दुख होता है तब एक साथ बांटते हैं। जब खुशी के क्षण होते हैं तो मिलकर के खुशियों को बांटते हैं। खुशियां बांटने से बढ़ती हैं। और जब किसी के जीवन में, परिवार में दुख होता है, कष्ट होता है, परेशानी आती है, तो भी हम सब मिलकर के उसको बांटते हैं और वो परेशानी बांटने से खत्म होती है। ये हमारा विचार, ये वेद का विचार, ये वेद विश्व का विचार, ये विश्व के मानव का विचार है। और इसलिए ये विश्व कल्याण से नीत, एक तरफ तो मेरा वेद ये कहते हैं कि धरती हमारी माँ है, धरती पर पैदा होने वाला हर जीव और जंतु और मनुष्य मेरा अंग है। और दूसरी ओर उस परिवार की रक्षा के लिए वेद कहता है सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुर्भाग् भवेत्। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सभी सुखी हो, सब निरोग हो, किसी को किसी प्रकार का कोई कष्ट न हो। ये हमारी धारणा। वेद हमको जीना सिखाता है, वेद हमारे अंदर मानवता देता है, वेद हमारी संवेदनाओं को जगाता है, वेद हमको मनुष्य से महामानव की ओर लेकर के जाता है। और इसलिए जो ये वेद है कि सबके सुख की कामना है। जब तक दूसरा दुखी रहेगा तब तक मैं सुखी नहीं हो सकता। ये शांति का प्रतीक, ये शांति का सूत्र। क्यों नहीं शांति होगी? यदि पूरे विश्व को हम अपना परिवार माने और उस विश्व के परिवार के लिए सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः की कल्पना करके उस दिशा में बढ़े तो क्यों नहीं होगा? हमारे यही वेद कहते हैं तेन त्यक्तेन भुंजीथा। आप उतने ही प्राप्त करिए जितना आपको चाहिए, संचय मत करिए, आप इकट्ठा मत करिए। जितना आपको जरूरत है केवल और केवल उतना लीजिए, बाकी सब लोगों को छोड़ दीजिए। यह हमारी संचय की प्रवृत्ति ने अशांति को पैदा किया है। हमारे ज्यादा पाने की प्रवृत्ति ने पूरी दुनिया में कोहरा मचाया है। हमारी इस लालसा ने मानवता को भी, पूरी मानवता जहां खड़ी थी उस मानवता को और इसलिए शांति कहां से हो जाएगी? ये जो वेद के सूत्र हैं ये शांति को प्राप्त करते हैं। शांति तब होगी जब हम वेदों की इन चीजों को अपने जीवन में ढाल करके उस पर करना शुरू करेंगे। शांति होगी, सुख होगा। ये जो वेद है ये सुख, शांति और प्रगति का प्रतीक है। ये सुख का भी प्रतीक है, शांति का भी प्रतीक है और प्रगति का भी प्रतीक है, क्योंकि वेदों में हम विज्ञान है। वेद के एक एक ऋचा पर अनुसंधान होगा तो वो सब कुछ देता है हमको जीवन जीना भी सिखाता है और जीवन की उन चीजों को प्राप्त करना भी और देना भी सिखाता है। और इसलिए जो अभी आपने चर्चा की है, अभी शिवानी जी नई शिक्षा नीति के बारे में चर्चा कर रही थी। हमारे हिंदुस्तान कभी नहीं भूलता कि तक्षशिला, नालंदा और विक्रमशिला जैसे यहाँ विश्वविद्यालय थे, जहां पर पूरी दुनिया के लोग ज्ञान, विज्ञान और अनुसंधान के लिए आते थे। एतद् देश प्रसूतस्य सकाशादग्र जन्मनः स्वं स्वं चरित्रं शिक्षेरन् पृथिव्यां सर्वमानवः। सारी दुनिया के लोग आते थे। ये जो वेद और पुराण, उपनिषद, ये जो इसके अंदर ज्ञान और विज्ञान था उसको प्राप्त करके पूरी दुनिया में जाते थे। और इसलिए जो ये नई शिक्षा नीति हमारे देश के यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के लगातार नेतृत्व में, उनके मार्गदर्शन में हम लाए हैं। हम जीवन मूल्यों पर खड़ा करके, जीवन मूल्यों की आधारशिला पर खड़ा करके हम ज्ञान, विज्ञान, अनुसंधान, नवाचार और प्रौद्योगिकी के साथ उसकी आधारशिला हम जो रखना चाहते हैं वो मानवीय मूल्य हैं, वो जीवन मूल्य हैं। क्योंकि हमने मनुष्य को मशीन नहीं बनाना है, हमने मनुष्य को एक अच्छा नागरिक बनाना है। हमने मनुष्य को अच्छे नागरिक बना करके विश्व मानव बनाना है। मेरी जो नई शिक्षा नीति आई है वो जीवन मूल्य पर खड़ी होकर के विश्व मानव बनाने की दिशा में एक सशक्त कदम है। और इसलिए ये जो नई शिक्षा नीति आई है, ये बचपन से 3 वर्ष से बच्चे को लेकर के उसके अंदर जो उसका मस्तिष्क का विकास है, किस दिशा में जा रहा है, वो उसके जो अंदर है। क्योंकि मनुष्य ईश्वर की सबसे सुंदरतम कृति है। ईश्वर की सबसे सुंदरतम कृति मनुष्य है। इस सबसे सुंदरतम कृति को बहुत सुंदर बनाना है, बना करके रखना है, संजोना है, संवारना है। उस सुंदरतम कृति को जितना अच्छा रखेंगे हम, उतना हमारे जीवन का आनंद आएगा, हमको सुख मिलेगा, हमको शांति मिलेगी। सुख और शांति दूसरों को कुछ देने में होता है। वो आदमी जो कुछ दूसरों को देने की अभिप्सा रखता है, हमेशा वही खुश दिखाई देगा आपको, हमेशा वही शांति दिखाई देगा, वही उसके इर्द गिर्द आप घूमेंगे तो उसके चेहरे पर रौनक रहती है, सुख और शांति की लालिमा छाई रहती है। लेकिन जो आदमी दूसरों को पीड़ा पहुंचाता है, उसके इर्द गिर्द न तो सुख हो सकता है न शांति हो सकती है। और इसलिए जबकि सारी दुनिया ऐसे कोरोना के महासंकट से होकर के गुजर रही है, ऐसे वक्त पर मानवता की जरूरत है। ये वेद हमको यही सिखाते हैं। अभी टोनी नादर जी ने कहा वेदो अहम ब्रह्मास्मि, बहुत सारी बातों को कहा कि वेद माने क्या, ब्रह्मांड है। वो ब्रह्मांड, हम ही ब्रह्मांड हैं, हम ही वेद हैं। हम जाने तो सही, महसूस तो करें अपने को, अपने अंदर तो झांक करके देखें। हमारे अंदर सुख भी है, शांति भी है, हमारे अंदर प्रगति भी है, हमारे अंदर प्रकृति भी है, हमारे अंदर प्रवृत्ति भी है, हमारे अंदर विकृति भी है। जब हम जीवन में अपनी प्रकृति के अनुसार काम करते हैं तो प्रकृति वो संस्कृति बनती है, वो संस्कार बनता है। प्रकृति के साथ समन्वय संस्कृति का कारण बनता है, संस्कृति जीवन होता है। और जब प्रकृति के साथ समन्वय नहीं होता है तो वो फिर विकृति होती है, और विकृति विनाश का कारण होती है, जो आज पूरी दुनिया उस संकट से गुजर रही है। और इसलिए ये जो वेद है ये हमको प्रकृति के निकट लाता है। ये वेद, पुराण, उपनिषद हमको ये कहते हैं कि ये प्रकृति आपकी है, इसे समन्वय करो। इस प्रकृति के साथ रह करके हम कुछ नया पाएंगे, और इसलिए हम लोगों ने सब साथ मिलकर के चलने का है। शांति तब होगी जब सब मिलकर के एक साथ रहेंगे, जुटेंगे। और इसलिए हम तो हमेशा ओम सहना भवतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषामहे। और फिर कहते हैं ओम शांति ही शांति ही शांति। ये हमारा, हम साथ मिलकर के, हम यदि भोजन भी करेंगे तो मिलकर के बांट करके खाना चाहते हैं, सब साथ साथ रहना चाहते हैं, सब साथ सहवीर्यम करवावे है, सब साथ मिलकर के काम करना चाहते हैं, अपने पुरुषार्थ को आगे बढ़ाना चाहते हैं। मां विद विषामय, द्वेष मत करो। जिस दिन द्वेष खड़ा होता है उसी दिन अशांति पैदा होती है। जब द्वेष खत्म हो जाएगा तो शांति अपने आप आएगी। और मेरा वेद यही कहता है, वेद यही कहता है कि यदि शांति चाहिए तो मां विद विषामय, जीवन है मनुष्य का, इतना छोटा सा जीवन है, उस छोटे से जीवन में वो क्या क्या करना चाहता है। वो पूरी जिंदगी भर में अशांति को लेकर ढोता है और अंतिम क्षण में उसको लगता है कि मैंने तो बहुत कुछ खो दिया है। और इसलिए बहुत जरूरी है कि हम सब लोग जो इस चिंता के साथ यहां पर आए हैं, हम उन वेदों की उस पुंज को, उस शक्ति को महसूस करें और फिर उसको दुनिया के लोगों तक लेकर के जाएं, मानवता के उत्थान के लिए जाएं। ये जो मानव का कल्याण है, पहले तो व्यक्ति अपने में महसूस करे कि क्या उस कल्याण से होकर के वो गुजर रहा है। मुझे लगता है कि आज जरूरत है पूरी दुनिया को ओम संगच्छत्वम संबद्धत्वम, साथ साथ चलने की जरूरत है, सब कुछ साथ बोलने की जरूरत है, एक मन को लेकर के चलने की जरूरत है। अलग अलग मन कभी एक नहीं हो सकते, वो शांति नहीं पा सकते। इसलिए जो ये मन है ये सबसे ज्यादा ताकतवर होता है। इस मन की शांति है तो सब कुछ अच्छा है। मन ठीक जरूरी चाहिए, और इसलिए इस मन को ठीक, जब मन ठीक होगा तो तन भी ठीक होगा। इन दोनों का अद्भुत संगम है। यदि तन बहुत अच्छा है और मन अच्छा नहीं है तो उस अच्छे तन का क्या करना है, बेकार हो जाता है। और मन तो बहुत अच्छा है लेकिन तन ठीक नहीं है, शरीर ठीक नहीं है, स्वास्थ्य ठीक नहीं है तो भी बेकार हो जाएगा। और इसलिए वेद ये कहता है कि तन और मन की दोनों की स्वस्थता के लिए जो योग है उसमें जाकर के आप अपने को व्यवस्थित करिए, मन को भी ठीक रखिए, आप तन को भी ठीक रखिए, और अपनी सुंदरतम कृति जो भगवान ने आपको बनाया है इसको व्यवस्थित रखिए, उसका आनंद लीजिए, उसको सुख का एहसास करिए, आनंद का एहसास करिए। और हमारे यहां वेदों ने हमेशा कहा असतो मां सद्गमया, असत्य से सत्य की ओर चलो। अशांति कहां है? जब हम झूठ बोल रहे हैं, वो अशांति है। ऋग्वेद में कहा है कि अकर्मः दस्यु, कर्म न करने वाला आदमी चोर होता है। का मतलब हमको अपना कर्म करना है, हमको जितनी अपनी ताकत है उस क्षमता का उपयोग करना है। यदि हम अपनी क्षमताओं का पूरा उपयोग नहीं करते हैं तो ये भगवान के साथ नाइंसाफी करते हैं, अपने जीवन के साथ नाइंसाफी करते हैं, फिर शांति कहां से हो जाएगी। और इसलिए हमारे वेद हमको सिखाते हैं असतो मां सद्गमया, असत्य से सत्य की ओर चलो। तमसो मां ज्योतिर्गमया, तमसो, ये तमस को हटाना है, अंधकार मिटाना है, ज्योतिर्गमया, प्रकाश की ओर लेकर के चलो। तमसो मां ज्योतिर्गमया। नहीं नहीं, ये चाहे वो ज्ञान का अंधकार हो, चाहे वो विचारों का अंधकार हो, चाहे वो परिस्थितियों का अंधकार हो, चाहे वो विकास का अंधकार हो, उस अंधकार से हमको प्रकाश की ओर जाना है। यह हमको वेद सिखाता है। अंधकार को मिटाने की ताकत देता है वेद हमको, और इसलिए वो विज्ञान है, साइंस है। वेदों का सूत्र जीवन है, वो विज्ञान के रास्ते से होकर के उसको फलीभूत करता है। मृत्युर मां अमृतम गमया, यहां तक वेद ने बोल दिया कि मौत को भी जो पार कर दे वो अमृत हो जाएगा, अमर हो जाएगा। ये है वेद, ये सामान्य नहीं है मेरे वेद। जो मौत को भी पार करके अमृत की ओर ले जाने की ताकत रखता है, वो है वेद। इसी को आगे लोगों को बताने की जरूरत होगी शायद, क्योंकि जिसके सामने भी ये अमृत आएगा वो विष को नहीं छुएगा, और इसलिए इस अमृत को सरसाने की जरूरत है। प्रोफेसर टोनी नादर जी, आप अमृत को सरसा रहे हैं, आपको मैं बधाई देना चाहता हूं। अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं। इसलिए जो वेद हमारे लिए जीवन है। मुझे भरोसा है कि जिस तरीके से आज पूरी दुनिया तमाम प्राकृतिक आपदाओं से होकर के गुजर रही है, कोविड की महामारी के संकट से गुजर रही है, ये कहां से कोविड, ये वायरस कहां से निकल रहे हैं? इसलिए कि प्रकृति का समन्वय नहीं है। जब प्रकृति से समन्वय नहीं होता तो विकृति होती, वो तमाम प्रकार की आपदाओं को लाती है। कहीं भूस्खलन करेगा, कहीं भूकंप करेगा, कहीं सुनामी को लाएगा, कहीं ऐसे वायरस जो आज पूरी दुनिया को हिला करके रख दिया उसको भी लाएगा। हमारे यहां वेदों में हमारे यज्ञ होते थे, हम अपने वनों को पूजते थे, अपने पेड़ों को, वृक्षों को कोई शुभ काम होने के से पहले वृक्षारोपण करते थे और कहते थे कि एक वृक्ष 100 पुत्रों के समान है, ये कह करके उसकी पूजा करते थे। और ये सब हमको हमारे वेदों ने दिया है। और मैं ये समझता हूं कि अनंता वे वेदा, अनंता वे वेदा, ये अनंत है, इसका कोई अंत नहीं है। ये जितनी गहराई में हम जाएंगे उतना हम पाएंगे। ये सागर है, कितना पा सकते हैं, कितना ले सकते हैं, कितना दे सकते हैं, इसकी जरूरत है आज। और मुझे भरोसा है कि जो आपने ये शुरू किया है, यह अभियान अब रुकेगा नहीं। इस अभियान की दुनिया को जरूरत है, इस अभियान की मानवता को जरूरत है, इस अभियान को सुख और शांति की जरूरत है, और सुख और शांति इसी अभियान से आएगी। शांति विश्व कितने ही बड़ी बात क्यों न करे, जब तक व्यक्ति अपने चरित्र को, अपने मन को, अपने आचरण को, अपनी जीवन पद्धति को नहीं बदलेगा, तब तक शांति की कल्पना नहीं की जा सकती। और ये जो शांति है, जो सुख है, वो हमारे वेदों से है, हमारे पास है, वो शाश्वत हैं। मुझे भरोसा है कि मैं सोचता हूं कि हिंदुस्तान ये विश्व का सबसे बड़ा लोकतांत्रिक देश है। हिंदुस्तान के इस देश में 1000 से भी अधिक विश्वविद्यालय हैं, 45,000 से भी अधिक डिग्री कॉलेज हैं, 15 लाख से भी अधिक स्कूल हैं, 1,09,00,000 से भी अधिक अध्यापक हैं, और अमेरिका की कुल जितनी जनसंख्या नहीं है उस जनसंख्या से भी ज्यादा यहाँ छात्र हैं, 33 करोड़। ये हमारी ताकत है। हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि इस नई शिक्षा नीति को के साथ इस पीढ़ी को जोड़ेंगे। हम अपने अतीत जो हमारे पास वेद, पुराण, उपनिषद, तमाम ऐसे वैज्ञानिक ग्रंथ हैं, उन पर हम अध्ययन करेंगे, उसको वर्तमान से जोड़ करके ज्ञान, विज्ञान, अनुसंधान और नवाचार के साथ हम आगे लेकर के जाएंगे। हम सारी दुनिया को एक परिवार बना करके आगे बढ़ेंगे। वेद हमको एक सूत्र में जोड़ेगा। ये वेद पुराण हमको पूरे विश्व की मानवता को एक सूत्र में जोड़ करके आगे बढ़ने की प्रेरणा देगा। और इसलिए जो आज ये शुरू किया है आपने, दुनिया के 50 देशों के लोग आज जो जुड़े हुए हैं, मुझे भरोसा है ये 50 देशों के लोग पूरे विश्व में फैलेंगे और मानवता का और उत्थान करेंगे। पूरे विश्व को एक विश्व बंधुत्व की जो बात की है हमने, हमारे वेदों ने जो कहा है, जो सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः की बात की है, जो वेदों ने विश्व बंधुत्व की बात की है, वसुधैव कुटुंबकम की बात की है। इस वसुधैव कुटुंबकम को हम बढ़िया तरीके से सजवाएंगे, संवारेंगे और आगे बढ़ाएंगे। मैं आप सबका एक बार बहुत हिंदुस्तान की धरती से आप सबका मैं अभिनंदन कर रहा हूं। आप कभी आए, मेरी माँ गंगा का पवित्र आचमन भी करें। मैं हरिद्वार से सांसद भी हूं। मैं उत्तराखंड का मुख्यमंत्री रहते हुए माँ गंगा के तट पर मुझे उसकी सेवा का अवसर भी रहा है, मिला है। और इसलिए मैं आप सबका अभिनंदन करता हूँ बहुत हृदय की गहराइयों से। आप जो काम कर रहे हैं, जो ये आज इस अभियान को टोनी नादर जी से मैं कहना चाहता हूँ कि आप इस अभियान को आगे बढ़ाइए। और अपनी शर्मा दीदी आपको भी कहना चाहता हूँ, संयोजक महोदय शिवानी जी, कि ये जितने देशों के लोग अभी जुड़े हुए हैं, ये जुड़े हैं, आप अभी बढ़े। ये हम बड़ा परिवार बनाना है, ये बड़ा परिवार बनाना है, वेद परिवार बनाना है, अच्छा बना, सारे विश्व को यूं करके एक साथ लेकर के आना है और मानवता को खुशी के लिए, उनकी सुख और शांति के लिए हम लोग सब एकजुट रहेंगे। मैं एक बार फिर आप सबका बहुत आभार प्रकट कर रहा हूँ। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। थैंक यू।
धन्यवाद सर, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और आभार आपका सर। बहुत से बिंदु आप छोड़ के जा रहे हैं हमारे बीच में, जिनको हम आगे बढ़ाएंगे निश्चित रूप से। कुछ एक तो मुझे बिल्कुल मैं कहना चाहूंगी, ऑल्दो अभी क्योंकि हमारे बहुत से पार्टिसिपेंट्स विदेशी हैं, तो मैं अभी राजेश जी को रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी टू समराइज द एंटायर। मानव समाज कोई मार्केट नहीं है, मैसेज आपने दिया है। और केवल इतना ही नहीं कि संगच्छध्वम संवदध्वम संवो मनांसी जानताम, ये आपने जो एक हमें एक ऊर्जा भरी है इस चीज को लेके कि इकट्ठे चलना है, मिलके चलना है, और केवल भारत को नहीं चलना, भारत के साथ सारे नेशंस को चलना है। ये मुझे लगता है कि अब इसका समय आ रहा है धीरे धीरे। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ सर मैं आपके प्रति एक बार और अपना धन्यवाद और आभार ज्ञापित करती हूँ। और इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ मैं आमंत्रित करती हूँ जो स्प्रिंग सोर्स हैं इस पूरे कार्यक्रम का, जिन्होंने ये इतनी मेहनत से एक कड़ी बांधी, एक हमें प्लेटफॉर्म दिया, अपॉर्चुनिटी दी कुछ चीजों को सुनने की, जो अभी भी मुझे लगता है भारतीय शिक्षा पद्धति में अब आने के चांसेस लग रहे हैं फंडामेंटल इश्यूज के। तो मैं राजेश नाथानी जी को, जिनको मुझे लगता है कोई परिचय की आवश्यकता नहीं है, उनसे मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी कि वो आए और अपनी बात को कहें और थोड़ा सा मंत्री जी के बारे में अंग्रेजी में भी कुछ समराइज करें। राजेश जी, आर यू देयर?
Ma'am, I am audible. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, you are audible. Yes.
Hello.
Hanji, Rajesh ji, you are audible. Can you just lower down your screen towards yourself so that we can see you properly?
Yeah.
Little bit lower.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
That's better.
Good.
That's better.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Maharaja ji, who has been very kind enough to join us from Paris. Raja Louis from Holland. All the dignitaries, because the list is so long, it would take much time. So I'll be just, I'll be extending my greetings to you, my pranams to you for the wonderful opportunity that you have given to us. I have been assigned two things basically. I've been told to thank all the participants, and in addition to that, I have received messages from different quarters that I need to summarize what Honorable Minister said. In fact, Honorable Minister had met Honorable Maharaja ji in Paris during his UNESCO meeting, and there they planned that we should both work together for propagation of Vedic knowledge to different parts of the world. And in fact, this meeting today that is, I should say, continuation of that promise that was made to Maharajaji. Unfortunately, due to COVID crisis, we could not join in form of a workshop, in form of a physical meeting. But I am happy that at least through technology we are here, and we today we have had the pleasure of hearing to our guests from all over the world. Right from which means where is the also defined as the science of the universe, whereas basic source of human civilization and Indian culture. And, in fact, in Veda, as the Honorable Sai pointed out, principles and teaching that are progress of human. We do see the Veda bring us here.
I think there is some technical glitch. Rajesh ji, can you hear us? Rajesh ji, can you switch off your video? Can you switch off your video, Rajesh ji?
Actually, there is some network problem.
Yeah, it seems so. Yes. Maybe we can just, yeah. We can wait for a minute. Let him come. Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible now. Please continue, Rajesh ji. You're audible. I think it's a network issue. Probably. Rajesh ji, you keep your video off, please, so that maybe It will be helpful.
It's taking some time. So, would you like to conclude on his behalf?
Meanwhile,
I think we should wait for him. Or
okay. Meanwhile, Sushim ji has to say something. Please, Sushim, go ahead.
Meanwhile, we have listened to our honorable and very respectable our Education Minister, Dr. Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank ji, and his very eloquent and diverse and covering all aspects of knowledge which are there in the Vedic, our literature, Vedic wisdom. Honorable Sir, Dr. Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank ji has contributed his 80 books he has written, and he has been honored by almost 15 countries for his remarkable works on human values, environment, as a devotee, and on his various written books, literature, poetry. Almost 20 scholars have been working and doing research on those literature contributed by our honorable minister, sir. And he is a unique combination of literature and politics, and we have in his education ministry's able leadership, we have after 34 years, after that we got historic national education policy, which was the result of biggest consultation of the world, and honorable sir has given a wide survey of Vedic values enshrined in our traditional Indian wisdom, Indian culture, Indian literature. And we will listen to Rajesh Nathani ji summarizing the part and portion of honorable minister sir's speech, because we received the request from around the world, people who are connected here, particularly Raja Louis ji and other people, to summarize them. And because of the network issue, there has been a small pause. So we are waiting to Dr. Nathani ji, advisor to honorable minister sir under the Ministry of Education, for concluding remarks, if he is there.
I think
or with the kind permission of honorable
he has not been able to join.
Madam, you...
Okay, so yeah, they are asking to conclude. So as a concluding remark, I can not but quote Vedic verse from Rig Veda. Esha devo duhita pratyadarshi jyotir vasana samana purastat ritasya pantha manveti sadhu prajanativana disho minati. Now with this concluding verse, I wish to submit that such is the consciousness that our rishis had, and we must follow it in word, actually in word and spirit. The translation goes that the rishis, they claim that we saw the daughter of Dyuh. Dyuh is the lok, it is the world beyond sun. And the daughter of Dyuh is nothing but Usha, right? And she was wearing all Jyoti. Jyoti is all bright, all brightness around her. And with the samana, her mind is so balanced, is so samana. And she knows, she pretty well knows that the Rit, the law of Rit, must not be violated. Now, this kind of consciousness, when we find in Vedic texts, it simply bestows morality and moral order, cosmic order, even in the the nature, the personification of nature is such a common element in Vedic spirit that, it gets very difficult for a man of sensitive conscience to violate what is so natural, not only natural, what is so created by human endeavors, the moral values that we uphold. And I agree with Nishank ji, our honorable minister, that it cannot be less than tena tyaktena bhunjita. We cannot hoard things. We cannot act irresponsible. And with these words, I would like to thank one and all those who have presented, shared their views, and especially Dr. Nader for giving a wonderful lecture, and our honorable minister to be present with all of us at this platform and bless us with his message. And certainly we can assure you, sir, that we will absolutely follow the message that you have delivered here in word and spirit. Thank you so much. I also wish to thank the organizers, the Professor Tripathi ji, who has been the main organizer of it, Rajesh Nethani ji, who has been working very hard. We have been also very thankful to Raja Louis ji, and of course, not last, but of course, Omveer ji and the technical teams that have been supporting ICPR, Dr. Sushim Dubey, program officer, who has been working very hard to get this webinar completed in time and efficiently. We are also thankful to all the participants who are attending this webinar on YouTube. We have very selective participants on this Google Meet, but there are a lot of, we have got, it is an honor to inform our speakers that we have got more than 10,000 registrations for this webinar, which is an achievement in itself. And that speaks for the authenticity of the speakers, that people are willing to listen to them so much. So with these words, I hope that we have not left anyone. We have many thanks to extend, but in the sorry, Omveer ji.
Thank you, ma'am. And I want to thank you also. And now I have put Dr. Rajesh Nethani ji on our phone line, so that he can conclude the meeting. And thanking you especially, and the organizing committee, and Sandeep Pani and the VC sir from the LBS, and our dear Maniniya Mukhya Shiksha Mantri ji. So here, Rajesh Nethani ji, please go ahead.
Yeah. I just wanted to conclude that Dr. Tony Nader, we are here with you as Honorable Minister said. We are the biggest network of educationists in India with 30 million people, more than your country's population. We have more than 10 million of teachers, and we have more than 1,000 universities and a vast number of schools. So we are all there with you, and I have been following your project. That was the Honorable Minister said. He has been following your project very seriously, and whatever can be done from India, whatever can be done from this personal side for basic propagation of knowledge, for research, for bringing collaboration, for creating new areas of research for Veda and science. So he has assured all help. And as I said, I have been interested who have participated in this event. Our technical partner, the organization Indian Council of Philosophical Research, Ministry of Education, Professor Veda, very much big round of applause for wonderful action. Universities. We had partner in that is Then we had Center, Sanskrit University. We had Bahadur Shastri National University, Sanskrit University, and Banaras Hindu University participating with us. Balaji Vidyapeeth, Puducherry, Prakash Lingam University, Kano, Maharshi University of that's Maharshi European Research University, Shiksha Anusandhan, Raja Park University from Bangkok, Thailand. We have future icons, Hyderabad, and last but not the least, program director of Maharshi Vedic Gurukul, Mr. Supreme for helping me out with all the technical things. And yesterday, Maharajaji, Radaji and your team, we were awake till 3 a.m. European time. So big thanks to them, and I'm really grateful to my minister for providing his valuable insights. And in spite of the big schedule, he has given us more than 2 hours, which is impossible with the current business that we have. Thank you all very much. And before I finish, I would like to end up with a Vedic prayer. Prithvi Shanti, Rapa Shanti, Roshadaya Shanti,
Vanaspataya Shanti, Vishve Deva
Shanti,
Dhamma Shanti, Sarvagyom Shanti, Shanti Deva Shanti,
Shanti,
Sama Shanti Edhi,
Shanti Redhi, Om
Shanti Shanti Shanti.
With all these words, thank you very much, and pranam from India. Thanks again.
Thank you. I don't know how does it work, but I tried to connect him. So he just his finishing note with the Shanti mantra, and here we complete. All the thanks to all the participants, especially to the ICPR department and Honorable Minister of Education. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for joining with us.
Thank you, Vicky. Thank you. Thank you, Piyush. I forgot to thank you. How come? I can't miss your name. Thank you for joining. Thank you all.
Thank you, Piyush.